Hey, hey, hey. How's it going, my tribe? How are we on this beautiful day? Like yourselves, let me turn this music down because it's just going to put me off. As beautiful as it is. Okay. So a lot of people are messaging me and asking how do I feel, what am I getting with this whole current situation. I haven't really responded to anybody and I haven't really put much out about it. Just simply because there's just so much fear based around it. I don't feel we need to have any more fear-based energies. So so where I'm at with it is humans and humanity for years have failed to take responsibility for themselves and failed to take responsibility for the world around them. And this time right now has been presented to us to take responsibility, to reclaim our power back, because from health to wealth to success to everything we believe and know ourselves to be has come from the external. We judge ourselves and where we're at on our journey from the external world. And so it's funny that right now we are being given the energies in which to reclaim that power. So basically, to say that you're responsible for your health. I mean, that's not to say paramedics, doctors, don't all play their part in the game, which they do. But, for so long we've handed over this power. We've said, we'll allow everything on the external to take over the responsibility for the self, and this is where we're at right now. So what's going on is simply about responsibility, self, and responsibility of the world around you, honing in and taking responsibility for your well-being, activity, your diet. It's funny that before all this started to come up, nobody really gave a shit about their health, whether that's blunt or not. That's the truth. Nobody really cared. So it's, in a way, it is kind of refreshing, because so many people are kind of like wanting to change their diets, wanting to eat this and eat that, and making sure they have what they need in order to get the nutrients that they need. But ultimately, right now, it's about responsibility self. Not just responsibility self, but how can we help one another? There's a lot of fear-based going on. And I read this the other day, and I guess it's, I've been sat here observing it. I don't really say much about it. Hey Dan, I know you've messaged me about this, so this might answer your question. So I believe this time is a time for reflection and a time of change. I've said it from years and years ago. There was something big going to go down, and this is a part of that change. In order for new to come forward, the old has got to crumble away, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing all the old crumbling away. Now, I believe that this is triggered by the powers that be, not for a positive, but being soul and being in the energy that we're in now, it's obviously going to be, we're going to use that for the positive rather than for the purpose in which the powers that be have created this, which is to create mass fear, for us to hand over our power and for us to say, okay, we need governments and we need this and we need that, and again reaching out to everybody rather than going within and asking ourselves what we need and what is it that we truly, what is it that humanity need to grow into. So you can't expect a new world to come flourishing forward if you wanted to keep everything the same, if you wanted to keep corporations, if you wanted to keep lifestyles and everything the same, because it's just not going to work. What was it Albert Einstein says? You cannot heal a situation with the same thought that created it. And so all this is, rather than moving into the fear base of kind of like survival mode, again, you got to remember we've been kept in this survival mode. We've been kept in the root chakra mode. And right now we're being prompted to come up, to remember and understand that we are loved and we are protected and guided in every step of the way. Nothing in the universe has that energy, that negative energy to create this sort of thing. So anybody who's saying that this is a natural creation, not really, because nature doesn't create these type of energies, but nature utilizes the energies, and this is what we need to do. So it's funny because it just so happens that my book is ready to be, you can buy this on lulu.com, and if you search for my name or you search for the name of the book, you can buy a printed version. Now that it's finally there and all the formatting is done, but it talks about these kind of things. And a few of my friends have said to me, they said, Lee, well, what a beautiful time to release this book, because this book speaks about this kind of thing, is taking responsibility for the world around you, for one another. How can we support? How can we help? You know, there's no point putting negative energy towards politics, putting negative energy towards this, that and the other, because negative energy creates negative energy. What we simply got to do is create a positive energy. So even to the things that we're not happy with, put that positive energy out there, put that healing energy out there. Politics not working well for us, right? Collectively. So what do? Rather than saying, I hate politics and I don't want this person to do that, we go in and we thank the world for presenting these people who have shown us what we don't need anymore, right? Because that's all everything is, a reflection of what we don't need. Look around what's going on right now. It's all a reflection of what we don't need in the world. A bit like, I don't need this sty thing at the side, you know? Can't help but notice it. Anyways, so it's simply about just being aware, and just don't fall into the category of fear-based, because humanity have been there. It's not going to help anything, and it's not going to change anything. The only way we can really make use of this time in this period is simply to say, right, I know that I'm divinity. I know that every single one I meet and everybody in this world is divinity, right? So if everything in this world is divinity, everything in this world is a creation of Great Spirit and of God, well, God is perfect in every way. Nothing that comes forward is imperfect. So you got to ask yourself, what is the perfection in this experience? And the perfection is, it's given us a chance to say, right, I'm going to practice what I preach. So many people I see and so many people I observe, and they post out all these amazing statuses and all these amazing memes and stuff, but can you really say that you live up to what you preach? Do you live in alignment with divine masculine and feminine? Do you find that when it's a male saying a certain thing, you don't really, I'd rather not resonate towards that, but if it's a female saying, it will resonate. You know, you got to ask yourself, what is being reflected to me? And right now, a lot of things being reflected to us, every single one of us. Are you where you want to be right now? Have we got balance in the world? You know, you got to ask yourself, because with everything, if you want to see the bigger picture, you got to take the higher perspective. And how do you do that? You move away from the limited human perspective. And the limited human perspective is simply what the media are putting out. It's been overplayed. I've got a lot of people in the medical industry, and it's been pushed for an agenda. One, because we all know they want to control population, right? Whether you believe it or not, it is what it is. They've always done it, and they continue to do it. So it's a population control method. How quick did it all get to where it's at now, without any form of, communication to anybody? It just was here and went. A lot like Ebola, foot and mouth. But this time, as I spoke about in the book, I also say in the book, we're in unprecedented times right now. To summarize, the human experience, it was an experiment. Nobody knew how it was going to turn up, not even the higher beings, not all the angels or guides which helped us. You know, it was all an experiment, which is explained a little in here, just to kind of trigger those past life memories. And so this experiment, you know, it's unfolding. It's unfolding as it should. We're all doing as we agreed to do. We're all growing and we're all moving forward. But don't let situations like this deter you from what you know. You practice what you preach. You keep in alignment with what you sing about and what you dance about. Now is the time when people will look at you. If you're a spiritual person, or if you're somebody who is an influencer, whatever you want to label yourself or people label you, this is a time where you've got to stand up and you've got to step in and you've got to stay in alignment with who you say you are. Because This is the point of whereby you turn around and you say, right, I am a divine being. I am love, health, wealth. That is my divinity and my right. So you got to pull that in. And as you do that, the more you do that, you pull others in too, because we're all inspiration to one another, motivation to one another. When one domino falls, so do the rest. But whilst that may be true in a negative sense, you can use that in a positive sense. Knock the domino, knock it down, and let it go around. And that's what we're doing. It's just simply at times to move into what you say you believe you know. And at the same time, the universe and your soul is saying, hey, you say you know this. Show me. Show us, And it's in the physical, in the action, and in the showing of that is where you can come into alignment in what you know yourself to be. Because you can only know yourself to be something conceptually until you act it out. When you act it out, you can physically know yourself to be that thing, right? So take note. What's he saying? We're being asked to stay at home, being asked to work from home, and asked to do this, that, and the other. What's he saying? It's all homebound. So it's about tuning in and saying it's all home. So it's a responsibility for your health, for your well-being, for your exercise. You haven't got the gym to be open. You haven't got the doctors to tell you what to take, and you haven't got this. So right now it's all about bringing that power back and asking yourself, what do you need? What do you need? Are you where you want to be in life? Do you believe that things will change when there is no change? We'll go back to, you cannot create something new from the same thoughts which created the old, because you're just going to create the same. So don't jump onto this bandwagon of fear. Yes, souls are gonna ascend from this earth in this period, because you must understand we're in a detrimental time for evolution, consciously, soulfully, and a lot of souls are not at that vibratory resonance to be able to handle these new energies coming in and the new world which is really into play. And if you're not within that vibrating frequency, then your soul will go, because it can't handle it. It's the thing. A few things might help here if we understood the truth around the whole death process in ancient civilizations, ancient cultures, and Hebs, higher evolved beings. They all get told when their passing will be, and that way they fit their life experience around the soul lessons and soul plan, which is what we should be doing. This is how we grow as a soul, but we've moved away from that. And we've moved into this idea of physical material, that's success, whereas in ancient times, success was being able to stay aligned with your soul path, So it's understanding that now is a time to redefine all what we think we know, redefine health, redefine education. A lot of kids can't go to school right now. A lot of parents are struggling. So what do we need to do? Teach them what we know. It's... For too long, we teach kids kind of like what to think, but we don't teach them how to think. So now is a time, whilst they're not being programmed with all these things, to sit down and say, right, now's the time to show youngsters and young people how to think, what to do with those thoughts that they have. And that's how we create change and geniuses, Change doesn't come from the same repetitive thoughts. It comes from a thought, and the change of thought will derive from your change of frequency. So it's just a time of really reclaiming your power. It's self-empowerment, whilst also aligning with the new world, because it's a new world, guys. This is where we're at. People want to try and keep everything the same. And although we claim, well, we want change, we want this, 80-90% of population don't want that. They're quite happy with how it is. This is why people stay in their comfort zones, why people stay in jobs and homes and relationships for such a long time when they're so unhappy and they want something more. But it's comfort, it's routine, it's known, it's the mystery. What soul loves, soul comes to earth as a energy looking to experience and just delve deep into the mystery and uncover all those beautiful and wonderful that beautiful knowledge and wisdom about the self, but we don't like that. We like to be told what's happening, when it's happening, how this is happening, how this is going to happen. It needs to be, and a part of the life experience is simply, reveling in the mystery, jumping out your comfort zone. So, a lot of us health-wise being triggered. Health is a big thing because we have failed to take responsibility for it. Now, this is not being hard on myself, not being hard on any of you guys or any of the world, but it's just a fact. We have not been responsible for our own health. We've allowed everything else to tell us what to eat, how to feel. We got an aching knee, we go to the doctors, we take the pill, the aching knee goes, but then 2 months later, the aching knee turns into like a sprained knee or something. You see what I'm saying? We don't listen to what's being told to us. We just wait until it gets to the point of no return, or the point of where we feel we have to do something until we do something. It's quite often I've spoken to people about the whole awakening process and how it all occurred, and a lot of the time it's like something bad happened, something really dark happened, and it's funny because we always have to wait till we get sick and tired of being sick and tired before we decide to change anything. And when you think of your health, just take a moment to ask yourself, do you do that? I know I used to sit there, and that spot, like for instance this here, I know what it is because I've had it before, but if I hadn't had it before, I'd have just left it, and it probably would just got bigger until it eventually closed my eye. Then I would have gone to the doctors. But the thing is, it's being aware of it. It's taking responsibility for it. It's not just saying, oh, well, it'll be fine. I'll just go to the doctors and they'll give me whatever they need. Listen to what your body's telling you. It tells you all what you need to know. If it's an ache, acknowledge it. How do you heal it? Again, all this is in my book. It doesn't go into too much detail because the book is simply about provoking you to do your own learning, to jump into your own understandings. It's not for me to tell you what you need to know. It's to remind you of what you've forgotten, and at the same time to trigger any remembrance that you may have. So I just wanted to put this out because I'm just busy right now with kind of like what's going on, and a lot of people are saying, well, you're bringing out a book in a very unique time. Because this is what this book's all about. This book, I wrote it with the intention to re-spark that inner knowing within, and to also highlight how much power we've given away, not just individually, but collectively. But also how to bring it back, what we can do, So how can we heal this? How can we move forward with this? How can all that's going on now be healed without such detrimental effects, so to speak? Quite simply, this. What do? You send nothing but love. You do your meditations. Right now, a lot of us are in isolations as the world around us, right? So what do you do with all this time? You can't go to the gyms, you can't go shopping because there ain't nothing on the fucking shelves, right? So it's about responsibility. Your soul saying, right, we've given you this time. The universe is saying, we've given humanity this time now. You've all been asking for change, praying for health, right? This shit we've been praying for, we've been asking for. And now it's here. So what do we do with it? We take responsibility for what's been given to us, right? Meditation, get into it. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it doesn't really matter. The moment you just take that step, you're taking responsibility for your health and your well-being, because up to this point you haven't. Not to say every single one of you haven't, but we haven't at all. We've passed blame and we pass everything onto everything else without saying, well, this isn't my fault, I didn't create this and I didn't do that. When in actual fact, me, you, and every single one of us in this world and in this moment right now, we created this scenario. That might be hard, but just take a minute. How did we create it? What were the thoughts that were being put out collectively before all this went down? 2020 being a big year. Everybody felt that 2019 was big, right? And they come in with that energy from 2019, that lasting energy. Have to bear with me. I'm still kind of like I am at work as well, like multitasking. So yeah, a lot of the energies, the change energies come in from 2019, and a lot of people had a lot of anxiety from the changes that happened then. So you've got to be responsible and remember that everything is created for us, not against us. So where do I stand? I will not, and I refuse to put any negative energy towards anything going on. I refuse to focus upon media and what they say. I refuse to focus upon the craziness within the shops and this, that and the other. I still do my morning and evening meditations. I do my card readings. Guys, I'm doing card readings as well. I don't really want to use this to promote anything like that, but if you are looking for any card readings, it's £50 an hour. You can book on my website, or you can inbox me. The book is also available on my website as well. It will be on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, but it takes some time for it to be approved. But, it's simply about just taking responsibility for yourself and for the people around you, with the whole food thing. Can you share shit? What can you share, Are you making a meal which, when you make it, 3 people could all get involved in that, So why don't you ask your housemates, hey, I'm making a meal? This is about unity, right? We've asked for this. We've been we've been asking for this, and we've been praying for this, and it's here now. So what do we do with it? And this is where people are stuck. They don't know what to do with it. This is the main bracket. Don't know what to do, which is one of the main things which makes us angry. So what do? We get into our meditations. You get back into the self, back into self-work, move away from the external work. We work in a home now. So what does that tell you? The universe has give you a chance to come back home, rest, recuperate, and just ask yourself, what is it you want in life? Are you where you want to be? Are you practicing what you're preaching? There's nothing, I've been on my journey for many, many years now, but the thing is, I haven't always practiced what I've preached, because you can only practice what you preach up to the level of your understanding of what you're preaching, if that makes sense. So whilst it's a beautiful intention to practice what you're preaching, you can only do it to the level of your own understanding. And so practice what you preach to the level of your own understanding and share it. If you're somebody who's talking of love and unity and a better world, then be that, share it. If you're saying all this stuff and then in the next breath you got somebody who's like, I don't know, can you believe all this shit going on? You're like, yeah, man, it's chaos. I can't believe in this. You're not living in alignment with what you're practicing and what you're preaching. So what I do in that scenario, and what I've done with everybody who's come to me and said, look, can you believe all this going on? I said, yeah, it's divine. It's a divine intervention. We asked for this. So what do? We send nothing but love to the world. How do you do that? Do it in meditation. Intention is everything. Intention and imagine creation. I like to call my imagination my imagined creation. Again, this is in the book, simply because the imagination is far more powerful than we've been led on to believe. So it's time that we understand that power. When we understand the power of imagination, or the imagined creation, as I like to call it, then we can understand the power of intention. Combine intention and imagination, and you get creation, right? That's how you bring change. It's really this simple. It doesn't have to be as crazy as we're making it. It doesn't have to be as fearful as we're making it. People are going to pass. No, it's going to happen, because this is a point now where souls are basically, they're at that point saying, right, have I achieved all I needed to achieve? Now have I got to where I wish to get to? And if that be the case, then so will go. It doesn't care for the physical, Soul understands it's not leaving any kids behind, it's not leaving any parents behind, it's not leaving nothing behind, because there's nothing to be left behind. It's all a physical creation of the mental. It's all in the mind and all in the soul anyway. So what you think you're leaving, you're taking with you, because it's a part of you. So people are going to pass. And whilst that can be hard, all we can do is provide sympathy and understanding. It will definitely come through better when you understand soul. And this is what the book's about. this gives a better understanding. And I mean, it's not complex. I haven't gone all big words and philosophical, but it just brings a basic foundation understanding of who we are and what we are and what we're doing, and how we can use our God-given rights and our divinity to stand in that power. So there are going to be passings to the non-physical, because souls have achieved what they wish to achieve and they will pass. This is the way it's always been done. In ancient cultures, they've known when their passing day is. They haven't made it a big deal like we do, because we attach to things, you know. We're always gripping onto stuff. So that's to be expected. So what can you do in those scenarios? Send love, compassion and understanding. And at the same time, a congratulations to the soul which has passed. People may say, why are you saying that? Well, what do you think awake's for? Awake is simply a congratulations of the soul. It's derived from the ancient ritual of the coming together and understanding of life, the celebration of life, the celebration, not physical, not what you've gained, what you've lost, what you've earned and what you've had, but what you've reflected out and what you've allowed yourself to be, and how that is, and how that's come across to others. So there are going to be passings. I don't like to call them deaths because it just has a very dark kind of but there will be passings, because the earth's changing, vibrations are changing, and if your soul is not at that level to handle the vibratory frequency, then you simply won't be here. So there will be passings. There will be a change. The world won't be the same after all this, because we're being asked now to step up and to take responsibility collectively of our world, you know. Shops, food, clothes, products, economical, you know, from haircuts and things like that. People are saying that their barbers are shut and this, that and the other, do you know what I mean? Well, I've got hair clippers. Anybody want a number one all over? But this is what I'm saying, is just use what you have and share what you have. And in all those times where you feel the fear of kind of like, oh, what's this going on? What's that? Why is this happening? Just remember, the media is there to put this fear into you, because the more fear you put out, the more you create what they need, because the powers that be strive off fear. They need it. I'll get to that question, Lisha, in a moment. They need your negative energy, and the moment you don't give it that, you give it the positive, well, then you're pulling in that sacred energy that the universe wants us to use. So you got the external energies, the negatives that they want you to use. So the media are going to push in as much as they possibly can. They're going to make sure it's going to be big people, celebrities, musicians, artists, big influential people that are going to be contracting this, because they're going to have the biggest collective impact on the circle of influence. So don't buy into it, regardless of whether the shelves are empty and people wearing masks and gloves, you know. Stay true to who you are. You are divinity. You are healthy, wealthy, protected, and always guided on every part of your journey. Remember that, regardless of what's going on around the world. Use your protection. I say this to everybody who gets in contact with me and everybody who does any readings with me. Use your protection. You've got to... There's no point sending out all these energies and saying this, that and the other to everybody if you're not protecting yourself, because you're just leaving yourself open. And when you're a higher vibration, this has been written throughout history, it doesn't matter, you know, what your work is. If you're a high vibration, there are energies trying to stop you from doing that. Because if you don't protect yourself, well, then you're fair game. You're like, okay then, you know. So, protection, health, just take responsibility for yourself. I mean, you don't have to become vegetarian, you don't have to become vegan. I'm not one of those people who say, oh, vegans are more healthy than meat eaters, because at the end of the day, that's not factual. Because I've met vegans who have become really, really unhealthy when they've stopped eating a nutritious diet. And I've met people who are really healthy who eat meat. It's a matter of what each body needs. So I'm not in a place where I'm judging, go veggie, go vegan, but take responsibility for what you eat. There is meat is a low density vibration, whether you admit it or not, whether you want to agree or not. It just simply is. It's another life force. You're taking that. So be responsible for the amount of other life force you're taking in. Me, I'm vegan. I like chocolate and cake, so I tend to slip sometimes, but I'm mindful and aware of what I'm eating. And if by any reason I think I want some fish, I don't care what others think about me. I'll grab some fish, but what I do, I'm aware of it, and I'll bless that fish, and I thank the fish for being there. It's about awareness of what you're eating. Viruses, diseases come in to show us when there's an imbalance in the immune system. This is collective, so what's this showing you? There's an imbalance in the Earth's immune system, in the minds of humanity. There's an imbalance. And how do you bring in balance? Through awareness. You can only bring in that balance when you become aware that there is a misbalance, right? So just be responsible for yourself, what you're eating and what you're putting into your body, and listen to your body. Quite frankly, what's it saying to you? Whenever I have an issue going on, and whether it's a sty or whether it's a achy foot, I always go into my meditation and say, right, what is this energetically telling me? Feet issues, for instance, not being able to move, not feeling stable, not feeling secure, not got your feet on the ground. There could be many things. So take those physical issues and take the physical in an energetical sense, how that is marrying up with a thought. So like the way I do feet, for instance, what are feet for? You walk on them, they support you, you need them to move. So to take a higher perspective with anything to do with feet, how would feet issues fit into soul? Unable to move forward in life, not feeling stable, not feeling like your feet are on the ground, not feeling like you're able to move forward. That's not to say that your foot issue or my foot issue is that. It's just simply giving you an idea and how you can take those physical issues and move on into the higher perspective to bring in, the actual reason as to why you may have those health issues. So take responsibility for health. Food, exercise, it's all about balance. Right now we're being pushed into and being asked to stay in balance, stay in alignment with what you believe yourself to know. And that's what we got to do. Practice what you preach and preach what you practice, because, with love, but now, for all the light workers, I don't really like to use that term because we're all here doing divine work, but for all the light workers, for the rainbow children, for the indigo children, for all the souls which are here with me, who know that you've been here to do something more to help the world, this is your time. You've asked for it. You've wanted it. Like me, this is my time for this to come out, because with all that's going on, this brings such clear and better understanding as to what we're doing and how everything fits in, and also encourages you to start your journey in remembrance. And staying aligned with who you truly are. So just don't get pulled into it, With that said, Alicia, I want to get around to your question. Suicide? Well, the thing is, it's a little bit complicated, but I'll just put it in this way for you. Suicide has one of two purposes for soul. One, it gives you like a halfway point where you can terminate, go back into the spirit world and kind of like do a reassessment of kind of like if you have the spiritual remembrance of what you need to develop forward in that next lifetime. So the first one is, for me, I think suicide fits into two, and unfortunately I can't give you who fits into what, but it will come on later on. I'm getting a lot of downloads at the moment because I'm going to be starting another book and maybe some blogs and stuff. But when it comes to suicide, that's a physical choice. I mean, we all get to the point in life when we get sick and tired of being sick and tired. As I said earlier, we seem to wait to that point before we do anything. But the point is, to be aware of how we're feeling. And the thing with suicide is, we think that we're going to end it all due to the external world and what we've been programmed to believe, that when we pass over, we go to this beautiful place called heaven and everything's great, and then we leave all the troubles and tribulations behind. Well, that's not necessarily true, because your soul's here to feel and experience, not to bail out, regardless of how it feels in the physical. It wants to feel it and it wants to experience it, because in order for it to say, yes, I've overcome that which I believe myself to be, it's got to physically act it out. That's what life's about, to physically act out what we conceptually know ourselves to be on the spirit plane. So, in some scenarios, I believe suicide would be agreed upon within a soul plan. Not very common, but maybe agreed upon as a kind of a marker to say, right, let's see how you're getting on. Because whenever there's a near-death experience, suicide or anything like that, that's actually a point where your soul has had like a bit of a meeting with your angels and guides. And you may find that after this near-death experience, or after you've seen the lights in so many instances and experiences, that people come back different. And that's simply because you are different. You've come back with a different energy. Your soul plan has changed. You may have even jumped soul tree. This is why a lot of people can speak foreign languages as well as become somebody different. Is because when you pass or you have a near-death experience, essentially you go back to the spirit realm. Remember, there is so there's that. The second one is quite simply, as Lay Lopez just said, was an escape out. And I'll repeat, for you, for your physical, Lay, it was your escape out, but your soul wants to feel that and will throw you back in. So I wouldn't be surprised if you had multiple lifetimes in that experience. I'm not too sure if it's the earth experience you're living now or something previous, but the get out feeling is the ego. You must understand the ego thinks you are alone, you are not supported, everything's random. You must remember, soul knows itself to be unlimited, protected, guided. It is God. It has the intelligence of God, so it doesn't want a way out. It doesn't need to have a way out, because it is everything in the all. It's got nothing to fear and nothing to get out of the way of. That's the ego needing to do that. And that's why often with suicidal tendencies and suicidal experiences, the soul will throw yourself back in. I don't have the full information to say how exactly does this all come together. But that's how I feel, and that's what's come through me for many, many years, is simply suicide. Whilst Lay, you are very much correct from a physical perspective and a soul perspective. Yes, it is a get out, but for his soul, it doesn't need an out. Why would it need an out? It is the all. What's it getting out from? There's nothing to get out from. It's just simply in its experience of what it's chosen. So yes, there's going to be a lot of people passing and a lot of times, and all we can do is just simply bring in compassion and understanding. Even as light workers, as spiritual people, we may understand the bigger picture of soul, but there's a lot of people who are not quite there yet. So it's about showing that love and just encouraging them and motivating them that not everything is as it seems right now. Even with people passing and anything going on and a death toll rate and this, that and the other, to soul, death is a celebration, which is why we have a wake. So celebrate it. What are we celebrating right now? Well, we're celebrating reclaiming of power. We're celebrating awareness of the state of things. For too long, we've ignored it, until it's been pushed in our face. And what we have now, the situation we have right now, it's been pushed in our face. We can't deny it. We can't move from it. It's everywhere you look, right? Which is good, because that means it's come to the surface. As with healing, as we do with our individual healing, we acknowledge it comes to the surface. It doesn't feel good, but then we move through it and better things come and then we let it go, right? Well, this is what's happening now, collectively. It's all being shown to us, so you just got to acknowledge it, move through it. How do you move through it? You take responsibility for what you see. Once you take responsibility for what you see, you then align with what you are and put that out. And that's how we bring change. That's how we're going to move forward. So yeah, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time just putting my feelings out there, and what my angels and guides have been saying to me and what I've been feeling coming through. And also reminding you guys, I know people are having hard times economically, financially, etc. But the book is out. If you are looking for answers, or you're looking just a little bit of clarity in what you're doing here, the life experience, how we can create and how we can change things, how we can heal ourselves collectively, individually, you know, and move forward. It's all in here. So yeah, I just want to thank you for watching. So just remember, don't fall into this fear-based energy. You know, we've been in it that long. It's become the norm for us. That's why it naturally feels okay for us to go that way. But move into your alignment. Move into what you believe yourself to know. If you're a light worker, if you're a spiritual worker, you're a guru, whatever you label yourself, then now is the time for you to align with who you say you are. Because this is a time where you're needed. You know, when there's great adversity is when great change, and that's and when compassion and everything's needed. So keep responsible for yourself, what you're eating, what you're saying as well, what you're putting into the world, politically, economically. Remember, these people are all souls on their journeys. People going about Boris Johnson and throwing so much negativity his way, and Donald Trump, well, I'm sorry to say, but they are souls on their journey, and they are a part of this change. They are in the middle of this change, so we should be blessing these souls because they are a part of it. Right? Even if we don't agree with what's going on, what do you do when you don't agree with something? You simply let go and accept it for what it is and send the love to it if it's not what you believe is on the resonance of love. So quite simply, don't get sucked into what the media tells you, because we're moving out of that. This is what we've asked for. This is what we prayed for. So what do? We take responsibility. Help one another, you know. If people come up to you and say, start talking about how fearful they are, remind them how loved they are. Love conquers all, right? You know, throughout this entire period, my entire workplace has gone nothing but talking about this entire thing. And from the moment go, I've said nothing but we're all fine. We're all protected. Change is coming and it's good. This is what we want. This is what we need. So be the change. You know, practice what you preach and preach what you practice. Take responsibility. Love yourself. Remember who you are. And by remembering who you are, you remind others who they are. And as we move into the alignment to divine masculine and feminine, because we are having those come in, men are feeling it, which is why they're feeling a bit lost. And gentlemen, I am writing a book which will bring a bit more clarity on where you're at. And for the ladies, a bit more understanding on the divine masculine, and how to embody that in these times. So simply be the love you are. Practice what you preach. A lot of you guys put out all these wonderful quotes and statuses. Well, now's the time to embody what you say you are. Embody it, and as people look at you, you'll become an inspiration and a motivation to show them that there's nothing to fear. To show them that there's it's all a part of the divine plan, and there's a higher purpose going on from here. So, we prayed for the angels. Shiva's here. First comes the destruction, then comes the creation. But we don't have to be a nuclear destruction, as we all quite know, programmed into us quite deeply. It can be a loving destructive, breaking it down with love and rebuilding back up with love. Because that's the only way we can move beyond, change anything, and really bring a full understanding to what we're experiencing individually and collectively. So move beyond the fear and remember the love that you are. Take responsibility for yourself, for your health, for your well-being. If you're not into meditation or mindfulness, now's the time to get into it. The world is changing and it will become a part of civilization. It was before we went to the drop. It will again. It's a part of mindfulness. It's how we reclaim our power. So responsibility, unity, this is where it all comes in. You can see where all the laws are coming in into this moment. So a lot of people have been fearful, but haven't really took the time to understand that this is what's been shown to us. So responsibility, unity, practice what you preach, and just simply align with what you believe yourself to be. The book is available on Lulu. You can get it printed, you can get an ebook. And I want to thank you for just spending the time, for your comments as well. I know a few of you put some comments there, but the point of this was just to allow my angels to work through me, and the universe to work through me, to give you the message. And myself, thank you, angels, for this message also. Obviously, because I've been receiving it too, so I'm also going to embody what I've been saying too. And just remember who you are and what you are. You are a creator of infinite and magnificent potential. One person can create a car, 2 people can part a sea, 3 people can shift a planet. Remember the power of the collectiveness. Remember that the media are controlled by the powers that be. The powers that be strive off negative energy. So the ways in which we can divert that without putting out any negativeness is simply just by saying, I reclaim my power, I know myself to be a divine being, and I'm going to bring in my love now. And in my meditation, or when I'm in the bath, or when I've got 5 minutes, I'm just going to sit, close my eyes, and visualize the world with golden energy around it, golden light. Visualize a green light as well if you want to. Let that heal and wash through. And what you're doing is intention, using your imagined creation. And that's simply it. So how do we heal? Intention, imagination, unity, responsibility, and awareness. Thank you for watching, my friends. Any questions, drop me a message and I will get back to you.